Hey, what's up everybody? This is Ryan with Stock Tank Pools, and I want to show you something. I've just turned my stock tank pool right here into a hot tub, getting ready for the winter. It was remarkably simple, didn't cost a whole lot of money, and zooming in you'll see right here, this is the key right here. It's a propane hot water heater you can buy on Amazon, relatively cheap, and it only took about 2 hours to install this on my stock tank. So stay tuned. I'm going to show you how to do this, give you all the tips, tricks, and parts that you'll need so you can have your own stock tank hot tub this winter. Alright, so let's go through the 5 steps it's going to take to turn your stock tank pool into a hot tub. First of all, you're going to need all the parts, including this bad boy right here, the heater itself. There's some other miscellaneous things like the pumps and all the hoses and fittings and things like that. I'll show you that. Next, you'll actually need to install the heater. So I've actually installed it on the back of my garage. It's a nice sturdy location. This actually was the hardest part, was installing a heater. So just reserve a little bit of time to install that. And then I've also mounted the pump down below here. Check the link in the description below for that video on how I installed that. I'm not going to do that in this video. Next, you'll need to drill the holes into your stock tank pool just like you did with the filter pump. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, but you'll need a smaller drill bit for that. That's also in the parts section. And then you'll need to connect all the hoses. Connect the pump and connect the hoses to the heater. And then lastly, I'll show you how to operate it. It's actually surprisingly simple to operate. It just takes a little bit of time to heat up, so you'll just make sure you give it enough time, a couple hours usually, to heat up, and you should be good to go. Let's check it out. So first, let's take a quick look at a crudely drawn hand diagram so you can see how it's all going to work. We'll start off with our stock tank, and it will need to be emptied because we're going to add 2 spigots on the side there with the X's. First, the water will pass through a filter to clean it out to make sure there's no debris before it goes into the pump, which will then pump the water into the heater, and the heater will be connected to your propane tank. From there, the water will be heated and go directly back into the tank. Alright, so let's look at the parts that you'll need in addition to the heater. So first up, you'll need a pump to circulate water from your tank through the heater. So this is a 120 volt pump that I found. Has a really high quality, good pressure, high pressure, as well as low noise. It's really quiet. It has these 1/2-inch barb fittings that come with it, which you'll need, so make sure that you use those on both sides of the pump. Next, you're going to need a section of 1/2-inch inside diameter hose, and I chose a 20-foot section of this black hose, so you may need a little bit more or less depending on how far your heater is from your tank. You'll also need some brass adapter fittings, and these are garden hose thread to 1/2-inch barb adapters. So you'll need, these are kind of a specific part, but you'll need these. This comes with 3 male and 3 female fittings, as well as 6 stainless clamps, and it also includes those black rubber gaskets in there too, so you get a good seal. So make sure that you've got these. You'll use just about all these parts of these six fittings and the 6 clamps, so make sure you get those. You'll also need an inline water filter, and this is going to just filter out any debris that might be in your tank from going through your heater and your pump, so it doesn't gum them up and ruin them. So you'll need that as well. And you'll also need a 7/8-inch hole saw, and we'll use this just like you did in the filter pump installation to drill a couple small holes in the side of the tank for your 3 fittings. So a few tools as well. You'll need a flathead screwdriver. You'll need a sharp utility knife, and you'll use this to cut the 1/2-inch hose that you see there on the right. So make sure you have a sharp utility knife at hand. You'll need a pair of rusty pliers so you can tighten a few fittings, and I like this one because it adjusts to different sizes. And then of course you'll need a drill for the 7/8 inch hole saw, so don't forget that. And then lastly, I chose this remote controlled outdoor outlet. And I use this to turn the pump on and off, which basically turns the whole system and the heater on as well. So this is nice. It keeps the cords above the ground and out of the water. And it has, as I said, it's got the remote control on it, which is nice. So that should do it. Oops, you know what? One more thing, I forgot to include these. I already installed them, but you'll need 2 of these brass through fittings with spigots as well. So don't forget to buy those. Alright, so in a previous video, I did an unboxing, setup, and test of this heater. And the heater I chose is a Camplux 10-liter propane hot water heater. And this is about a mid-sized heater of the options available. I do want to point out that you should be sure to measure the distance between where your heater is going to go and where the fittings are going to go on your tank, because this will affect the length of hose that you need between the two. Mine is about 5 feet away from the tank, so 2 6 to 7 foot sections of the black tubing should work perfectly, but definitely try to mount the heater as close to the tank as possible. Hey, what's up? It's Ryan. Sorry to interrupt the video, but I just want to know if you like this video so far, or if you like my shirt, could you do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button to like the video? I would really appreciate it, because that will make sure that more people see this video going forward. And if you want to see more videos about stock tank pools in the future, hit the subscribe button to make sure you're notified when I post a new video about stock tank pools. That's it for the interruption. Back to our regular scheduled program. Okay, so in step 3, we will drill the holes and install the through fittings. And we'll drill the holes using the 7/8 inch hole saw with arbor. And remember, when you're drilling, to drill with a fast drill speed so you get a good clean hole. And when you're checking it, make sure that the collars, and make sure that they're not going to overlap and touch the ribs of the tank if you have any. So you get a good clean seat and a good seal. This will prevent you from having to do any caulking. So you just kind of have to work through it. It takes a little bit of time, but eventually you'll get there. And here we'll have the hole finally go through. Perfect. So now you'll take your through fittings, just simply install them using the threaded fittings, and make sure that the black rubber gasket that's provided, make sure that's on the outside. So you just want to double check, because that'll give you a good seal so you won't have to use any caulk. And then you'll take your rusty pliers and just hand tighten them, each of the fittings with those pliers, and you should be good to go. Alright, so in step 4, we'll connect everything. And we'll start with our inline water filter, and make sure you've got the black gasket that goes with that so you get a good seal. So just install that, tighten it by hand first, and then take your pliers and tighten it down just a little bit more. Next, we're going to take out a couple of the fittings. So we'll need 2 female fittings, and we'll go ahead and unscrew these from the package. And again, make sure you've got the black gasket in there for the seal. And we'll install that on the outlet of the water filter. Then we'll take another one and we'll install that on the top outlet there. Make sure it's got the black gasket as well. Same thing here, we'll hand tighten it and then use the pliers. Okay, so let's cut some lengths of tubing, and you'll need 3 lengths of tubing. 1 between the pump and the heater, a short one, and then 2 longer ones between the tank and the heater. Now when you're cutting, I found that it's good to have a surface you don't mind gouging into, because it's not a perfect science. But make sure you have a flat end on the hose so you get a good connection. Now as far as installing them, install the stainless steel clamp first, and then install the 1/2 inch barb fitting. And then make sure you take your flathead screwdriver and really tighten it down. You need to tighten this down quite a bit to make sure you get a good seal, because I found that I had a few leaks at first. So here we're doing it actually on the tank. I've already cut my section of hose about 6 feet. And make sure you tighten this down really good. That's the key. Again, the first few times I had leaks, so really tighten them down. Then we'll take our second section, our second long section. Again, this is another about a 6-foot section to get to my pump. This is coming off the inline filter. Again, I'll tighten this down really good, really tight with the flathead screwdriver. And now we'll come over and attach this to the tank. Now I have the bottom fitting going to the pump first, so I'll show you here in a second. So make sure you align the arrows. So there's arrows on the pump, so check the direction of the flow to make sure it's pushing water into the heater. So make sure you check those arrows. So I'm just going to point them upwards so they're going directly into the inlet of the heater. Okay, so we've got those. We'll line that up, and I'm just going to go ahead and install the pump first. I've got the screws mounted already. So this will make it a little bit easier to install the hoses here in a second. We've got those installed. Now I'll just simply take that inlet from the bottom of the tank, and I'm going to put that now into the bottom part of my pump, going upwards, so it's going into the heater. Again, take the flathead screwdriver and I'll tighten down that clamp so it gets a good seal. And then next I'll show you a different view. So you want to make sure you install these fittings, the 1/2-inch barb fittings, on the bottom of the heater. So we've got both a female, and then we've also got a male as well. So you want to make sure the rubber gasket is also in the male section. And that adapter actually comes with the heater, so make sure you install that adapter. Next, I'll install the outlet. This is coming out of the heater and going into the tank. So install that on the left first, or it's the middle one. And then we'll install a section of hose that's going to go from the heater to the pump that's going into the inlet of the heater. And here we go. Make sure you put a stainless steel clamp on there. We'll tighten that down as well. Make it a good tight fitting connection.
Okay, so this pump here, I do want to make a quick note about the pump. I went through another pump and it was extremely loud. So this one is a newer one that I really like. It's much quieter, just has a higher build quality. The old one was just so loud you could barely hear anything, but this one is so much quieter and so much more powerful. Even though it sounds a little bit loud on the camera, it's actually still it's pretty quiet compared to the old one.
And next I'll install the outlet, and we'll go ahead and plug in the pump to the outlet here, and then we'll plug this in so we're all connected so we can do a leak test. Okay, so here's a look at the underside of the heater. So you can see we've got 3 different hoses. We've got the gas inlet on the left, the water outlet in the middle, and the water inlet on the right. So remember, the pump's direction should go into the water inlet. And then I've got the filter ahead of the water inlet. So let's go ahead and turn on all the spigots so we can do the leak test and test everything out. And again, we'll just double check the direction of the pump. The pump's arrows are right here. You can kind of see them. Yeah, there we go. So those arrows should be going directly into the inlet of the heater, so we're going in the right direction. And it looks like we're good to go.
Okay, now I have the pump running. We're going to do a quick leak test, make sure all our connections are tight. I think we are in good shape. Got some hot water coming out there. And I actually you can see the hot water stream coming out there. If I push this back a little bit, it actually kind of speeds up the water a little bit. Now it's heating up. It's coming out 37 degrees from here. And I'll flash on the screen whatever that translates to in Fahrenheit. Maybe 95 or so. The water is, what temperature is the water? 66.
Okay, so let's talk about actually operating and turning on and turning off the hot tub. So the pump that I have in the description does not actually have an on-off switch, so you just have to unplug it and plug it back in, which is not a very good way to turn your hot tub on and off. So as a workaround, I found this remote controlled outlet here, which is designed really for Christmas lights and things outdoors like that. So the nice thing is you just hit the on button, and it turns on. That automatically turns on. That will automatically turn on your heater as well, as long as you have the propane valve turned on. It's a pretty nice way you can control it from inside, outside. The other nice thing is it's actually got timers on it, so you just hit timer and then 2 hours, and that will turn it on for 2 hours, so you can just run it to set it and it will automatically heat up for about 2 hours. Should give you about 25 degrees, 20 to 25 degrees of additional temperature. Okay, so let's take a look at the settings here. I've got the gas on max, I've got the water on max, and then I've got the heat setting to full. And with those three positions, the positions right there, that will add about 10 to 12 degrees per hour to your stock tank pool, assuming you keep a cover on like that. So that means if your water temperature is 50 degrees and you want to heat it up to, let's say, 80 or 85 degrees, you would need to leave about 3 hours to heat up your stock tank pool to that temperature. Now keep in mind, when you set it from full to eco, while it will warm up significantly faster, you will be burning quite a bit more gas, quite a bit more propane from your tank. So just keep that in mind. Probably wouldn't hurt to have a couple of tanks on hand throughout the winter so you can use this occasionally. Now you might be wondering, well, what about insulating the tank? Don't I need to put some insulation around it? And yes, that would definitely help, but I found it was just going to be too expensive and just an awful lot of work to insulate the outside of the tank. So instead, I'm just going to use my Intex solar cover that I have here. It's just a simple bubble cover, and this is really going to help prevent evaporation in the winter time, which is actually the biggest cause for heat loss, is just evaporation. Okay, so one more time, just for operation, all I do is just hit the on button, pump turns on and starts circulating water through here, about 35, 34 degrees there. So I just plan to do this periodically. I'm not planning to keep this hot all the time because that would just use a lot of propane. So my plan is to just basically turn this on, maybe in the afternoon if I want to use it in the evening to heat it up, or maybe keep it going through the weekend. But I don't plan to keep this operating all winter long because that would use an awful lot of these tanks right here. So that's my plan. Another tip, if you want to reduce the amount of propane you have to use, you can actually drain the tank a little bit. You can see it just rained a bunch, so the tank is completely full. If I drain a little bit of water off this, it will be less water that it has to heat, and therefore less propane that it takes to heat it up. So that can help out a little bit. Now, the other thing you want to make sure is you've got this plug on a GFI, because we are outside and around the water. You want to make sure this is on a ground fault interrupt, either a circuit or you have a plug-in one as well, and I'll have a link in the description for that below. This is connected to a GFI outlet on my house, so I'm already set, but I just want to make sure if you don't have a GFI outlet outside, make sure you buy one of the inline plug GFI outlets, just for extra safety and extra caution. All right, so that's it. Those are the 5 steps it takes to turn your stock tank pool into a stock tank hot tub for the winter. I hope you like this video, and if you do, hit the thumbs up button down below to make sure that more people see this video and this shirt too. If you want to see more videos in the future, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button to make sure that you're notified the next time that I post videos about stock tank pools. Lastly, if you have any comments or questions about the process, about the video, just drop them in the comments below, and I'll be sure to respond to each and every one of them. If you wouldn't mind, share this video on Facebook with your friends and family or whoever, and go out and do it. It really is awesome. It makes the stock tank pool usable for the entire year, so you won't regret it. You'll enjoy it. Thanks.